Hello, everyone. Today I'll be sharing an analysis on the article Influence of Learning Theories on Science Education, which was by Sudhakar C. Agarkar, and it was published in 2019. The article offered an exploration of how foundational learning theories, including behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism, have shaped the way science is taught and learned in classrooms. So, Agarkar presented a balanced mix of theoretical insight and practical classroom application. Under each, after he explained the theoretical insight, he provided examples of how they could be used in practical classroom settings, and it made the article very useful for educators. He doesn't exactly define these learning theories, but he does show us how they're evolved over time and how they continue to shape science instruction. So first, starting with behaviorism, it was rooted in the work of B.F. Skinner and Ivan Pavlov, and the theory focuses on observable behaviors and the idea that learning is a result of stimulus and response. So in science education, this has translated into a more teacher-centered instruction, including memorization, drills, and repetitive practice. Agarkar acknowledges that behaviorist methods are helpful for teaching foundational knowledge, but points out their limits. They don't exactly foster critical thinking or deep understanding, which some believe is the overall goal of STEM education. So, to quote Ormrod in his 2016 article, behaviorism's greatest contribution, despite their limitation, to education is its focus on measurable outcomes and clear learning objectives, which laid the foundation for standardized teaching and assessments. So while behaviorism may not cultivate curiosity, it has been key in structure and clarity in early science instruction. So next, going to cognitivism. So it was presented or very much championed by Piaget and Brunner. This theory shifts the focus more inwards towards how students think, process, and organize information. Agarkar explains that cognitivism values what students already know and helps them build on that knowledge using tools like analogies and metaphors. These help form mental structures, which are essential in learning complex scientific ideas. So, according to Bransford, Brown, and Cocking, learning is not a passive reception of information, but an active process of constructing meaning based on prior knowledge. So, this was just another example presented by other authors that further prove this point. So, this theory brought a movement towards student-centered learning, with the teacher acting more like a guide rather than a lecturer. So the final theory that was explored was constructivism, um, which uh, which draws from Vygotsky and Dewey. So this theory takes student-centered learning a step further, even more than cognitivism, which cognitivism was starting to be studied as to counteract some of the limitations of behaviorism. So, um, it says that knowledge is constructed through experience, interaction, and reflection. Agarkar gives us clear examples of constructivist strategies like inquiry-based learning, collaborative projects, and the conceptual change method, which were all designed to spark curiosity and real-world problem solving. Here's a quote from the article. As learners engage themselves in an activity like this, they develop an understanding of the importance of the problem, comprehend the relevance of the topic, and construct knowledge through their experiences. So constructivism supports the idea that students learn best when they do, when they explore, and when they reflect. It also encourages co-creation of knowledge between teachers and students. So some of the biggest takeaways from the article is that no single theory is enough on its own, and we can use all three if balanced correctly, using behaviorism for building foundational skills. So again, being able to use that repetitive or drill-based learning to understand the foundation in order to build off of it. And then you would apply cognitivism for organizing and deepening understanding of those foundational skills that you've already learned. And then lastly, you can use constructivism to implement and with like hands-on application and real world relevance. So Agarkar wrote that pedagogy that uses behaviorist techniques for foundational skills, cognitivist tools for conceptual scaffolding, and constructivist strategies for application and reflection can cater to diverse learners and create a more holistic science learning environment. So again, this is a valuable guide for educators, especially within these STEM fields, because it combines theory, history, and practice, and gives teachers kind of a guide or roadmap on how to design lessons that are learner-centered, culturally responsive, and engaging. So, in closing, Agarkar's article provided a strong theoretical foundation, but also gives that roadmap. And if we learn to balance all of these together, we can create effective learning environments. And they will not only inform students, but also inspire.